My 80-year-old father went to withdraw from his own account in his gardening clothes. The banker accused him of fraud and called him a confused old man in front of everyone. She didn't know he was the bank's largest depositor. My father called me from the bank, his voice shaking, and I drove there as fast as I could. By the time I arrived, he was standing at a teller window in his gardening clothes, the worn cardigan, the soil still on his hands from the tomatoes, and a banker was talking to him the way you'd talk to a child who'd wandered in off the street. "Sir, I can't just hand over that amount," she said, loud enough for the line behind him to hear. "Frankly, an account like this with a withdrawal like that from someone in your condition raises flags. Is there a family member we should call? You seem confused." My father wasn't confused. He was 80 and slow and dressed like a man who'd been gardening because he had been. He had simply come to withdraw money from the account he'd held at this bank for 40 years. "I'm not confused," he said quietly. "It's my account. I've banked here since before you were born." "Sir," the banker said, with a tight little smile, "I deal with fraud every day. I'm not comfortable with this. Maybe you don't fully understand how much money we're talking about. Why don't you sit down and we'll sort out who actually controls this account." The line behind him had gone quiet. A few people looked at the floor. My father's hands, soil still under the nails, had started to tremble against the counter. "Dad," I said, reaching him. "I'm here. They think I'm stealing from myself," he said, and the hurt in it nearly broke me. I turned to the banker. "This is my father. This is his account. What is the problem?" "The problem," she said, "is that a large withdrawal request from an elderly gentleman who seems disoriented and is dressed, frankly, like he's been digging in a yard is exactly the kind of thing we're trained to question. I'm protecting him." "You're humiliating him," I said. My father had banked at this branch for 4 decades. What this woman didn't know, because she'd never bothered to actually look at the account before deciding what an old man in a cardigan was worth, was what was in it. "I'd like to speak to the branch manager," I said. "I am handling this," the banker said. "The branch manager," I repeated. She sighed and called him over with the air of someone certain she'd be backed up. The manager came out of his office, a man in his 50s, and the moment he saw my father, his entire face changed. "Mr. Whitfield," the manager said. He hurried over. "I'm so sorry. Is everything all right?" "They won't give me my own money," my father said. "She says I'm confused." The manager turned to the banker. His voice was very controlled. "Do you know who this is?" "A withdrawal flag," she said, faltering now. He seemed, "This is Mr. Whitfield," the manager said. "He has banked here for 40 years. He is the largest private depositor at this branch, by a wide margin. His name is on the donor wall in our lobby. You just accused him of fraud and called him confused in front of a room full of people." The banker's face went white. "It's information you didn't have," I said. "Before you decided an old man in gardening clothes couldn't possibly have any money." She tried to recover. People like her always try. "I was following protocol. The way he was dressed, the amount, anyone would have—" "He was dressed like a man who grows tomatoes," I said. "Because he does. He's 80 years old and he came to get his own money and you treated him like a criminal. Protocol doesn't require cruelty." The manager had already stepped behind the counter himself. "Mr. Whitfield, please, come into my office. I'll process everything personally, whatever you need." My father looked at his trembling hands, then at me. That was when a woman near the front of the line spoke up. "I saw the whole thing," she said to the manager, nodding at the banker. "He was nothing but polite. She was the one being awful. You should know that." The manager nodded grimly and turned back to the banker. "Wait for me in the back. We're going to have a long conversation." And my father, the largest depositor in the branch, let me take his soil-stained hand and walk him past the banker who'd called him confused toward the office where they were suddenly very eager to help.